West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Emporia State Federal Credit Union. Learn more at esfcu.com. Text or call the number 620-342-2336 to get started today. ESFCU is the Shovix banking of choice, federally insured by the NCUA. This episode of West War Room Rivals is brought to you by JBW Solutions Industrial Safety Services, your remote safety partner no matter where work takes you. From the job site to the office, JBW Solutions brings OSHA 10 and 30 training, plus a full lineup of compliance services straight to your screen. Whether you're a small crew or a major operation, they make safety simple, accessible, and effective. Visit jbwsolutionsllc.com to learn more today and stay compliant wherever you are. West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Field Ops. Kansas sports fields just got an upgrade with Field Ops. Looking to reserve top quality sports fields in Kansas? Whether you're organizing youth tournaments, adult leagues, or weekend pickup games, Field Ops is your go-to platform for discovering and booking the best athletic fields across the state. Instant online reservations, detailed field info such as locations, amenities, and photos. Field Ops is also trusted by coaches, organizers, and athletes. From Wichita to Overland Park, Field Ops has got you covered with real-time availability and streamlined scheduling. Get in the game at gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS. That's gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to West War Room Rivals, where rivals collide. We are coming at you with a brand new episode. We got the Spy Optic Shades. We're going to do a roll call real quick, and this roll call is brought to you by Spy Optic. Use Orange 20 to get 20% off your shades when you purchase them today. Yes, Mama Shovik, they are fire. Shovix, kick us off.
Yep. I'm Austin, representing the Chiefs.
0-1 Chiefs.
Oh, I'm Austin, representing the 0-1 Chiefs.
Thank you. I'm Cory, represent Broncos country.
1-0 Broncos country.
Yep.
That's rad.
I'm Matt, also representing the 1-0 Broncos country.
And I'm Cody, representing the undefeated Raiders from Raider Nation. What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining us. We want to give a special thank you, too, to our big sponsor, JBW Solutions, veteran-owned, community-driven, safety-focused. Thank you to Jeff and the team for being great partners. We did a live show on Sunday. He was pretty active in there. He had some really good questions that we tried to talk about. And then later on in the show, you guys, we're going to do the segment sponsored by JBW Solutions, which is the Fantasy Football Frenzy. Hopefully, if you're in fantasy football, you guys had some wins, and hopefully, you know, for all you that drafted probably Chase with your first overall pick, my condolences, because I was a part of that group. So, guys, how we feeling? We finished week 1. We're heading into week 2. How we feeling about the season so far?
Terrible.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's week 1, and I told you guys Sunday, it's week 1. Please just don't overreact. Like, there's still plenty of season left, unless you're the Dolphins. And
don't check our group chat, because the sky was falling for a lot of us. So,
Yeah.
Factual.
Knee-jerk reactions are acceptable to a certain level.
Yeah. And also, too, I want to point this out before we get started. Our Westy Bestie Matt Prader hit the game-winning field goal for the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. So congratulations to Matt Prader. He is going to do phenomenal on the Bills. And funny enough, I picked him up in a fantasy league, and he got me close. I didn't win in that league, but he got me close. He scored 12 points, but it was great to see that he came in there in clutch situations, game time situations. And, you know, it kind of reminded me back, and we posted this reel on our socials where Matt Prader kind of told us what his thoughts are when it goes into pressure situations. And he was just, he should be the new Matty Ice for sure, because he went up there and just without any hesitation nailed it as if he's kicking a practice field goal. So it was great to see him succeed.
And I do want to say, and obviously, hopefully he's able to maybe join us here in the next few weeks. Obviously, there's no expectations of him coming back on the show during the season now, but honestly, the way the group text was going the other night with Matt Prader being on the field, you know, he hits the first couple field goals and we're like, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden we're kind of like, this might actually set up for something pretty big. And then, of course, what do you know? he comes onto the field, hits the game winner for the Bills. Honestly, it couldn't have happened to a better guy. I do encourage everyone, go back and watch that episode. You'll hear the just genuine person that he is and what he's about. And again, like he said during the show we were on with when he was here with us, and what he said after the game during his press conference, he was drawing up plays for his kids' football team.
Yeah.
So to do that and then take a red eye all the way to Buffalo. Yeah, man, it's awesome. I'm so happy for Matt. And I truly do hope that we're able to get him back on so we can relive that moment for him. I don't care what other people say. We're going to continue to push this stuff out for Matt Prader. Yeah, because he was so great for us in our show. So again, we're going to continue to celebrate Matt, and there's going to be plenty of other big kicks for this dude throughout the season.
Yeah, I know I'm a Chiefs fan, but he's such a good dude, and he couldn't have landed in a better fan base and just area than Buffalo either.
Bills Mafia.
Yeah. You can like their team or dislike their team, but they are an incredible fan base, and they're just an incredible group of people. And honestly, I can't think of a better situation for Matt Prader, just with how incredible of a person he is. It's a perfect fit, and I hope we're able to see him there for an extended period of time. And I mean, we'll know it'll be successful. I mean, that dude went up for a game-winning field goal and just looked like it was another day kicking, which is kind of what he told us. But yeah, I couldn't be more happy for him or his family, and even his kids. Like, you saw the pictures of his kids already decked out in their Buffalo Bills gear and everything. Like, it's just amazing, and I couldn't be more happy for him.
Yeah, same. And it's great. Like, your first game back, and you end the night with the game-winning field goal. So I mean, again, couldn't be more happy for Matt. And again, go check that episode, because just his approach to, like Cory said, how he approaches kicks, not just in pressure situations, just kicks in general. And I think he said, like, I kind of think of it like the replacements kicker, like, give me the ball, kick the bloody piss out of it. Yeah. So and that's what he did. But I mean, he was a great guy. Couldn't be more happy for him.
Yeah, same. So in this episode, you guys, I know that we kind of broadcast or advertised a little bit that we were going to have Carroll Buckholder, but some scheduling conflicts. We're working on getting him scheduled. We'll put that out on social media as soon as we get him. But we do have Colts Parade happening tomorrow. So tonight, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through our seggies and talking about the AFC West matchups that our respective teams have for week 2. And there's some good ones. We're going to kick it off with Monday Night Football, where, of course, Silver and Black Raider Nation is going up against the Chargers. Both teams are 1-0, tied for, three-way tie for first place, behind the Broncos, excuse me. So,
I wish the Dolphins were in the AFC West right now.
Yeah, actually, everyone would do pretty well against them right now. But anyways, so I'm going to give you guys my Silver and Black ops report, and it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, we kind of talked a little bit about Sunday's game. It was encouraging to see the Raiders kind of pull out a victory when needed against a tough opponent like the Patriots. Looking at the Chargers game, I think the big matchup is our offensive line. How is it going to do against the Chargers defensive front? Scored 1 touchdown, but, he only had 2.2 yards per carry. So that's got to be adjusted a lot. Geno Smith, though, first week as our Raiders quarterback, looked pretty comfortable. So I'm curious to see what he does in that Charger secondary. But also, too, this is a big head coaching matchup between Pete Carroll and Harbaugh. They've obviously had a past when Carroll was with the Seahawks and Harbaugh was with the Niners, and they do not like each other, even from back in the college days and the pro days. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of rivalry, not only amongst the teams, but within the coaching. So it kind of brings back a little bit more of that AFC West, rivalries that we remember growing up, that we've had, Baylock, and we've had Quentin Jammer talking about. So it's nice to see that that's kind of reignited on another front of it. But, I think ultimately what I'm looking at is it's going to come down to the Raiders defense and how they treat Justin Herbert and the run game. What we saw against the Chiefs regarding the Chargers is they can still run the ball pretty well and protect Justin Herbert. The Raiders need to do a pretty good job at staying home and making sure they get home to Justin Herbert to get him uncomfortable. And this is going to be in Las Vegas, so we really need Raider Nation to absolutely sell out Allegiant Stadium and black it out, so that way, the Chargers are uncomfortable, because for the most part, Allegiant Stadium is like another away game for the Raiders, and we need to really turn that around. So I'm going to pass it around to the rest of the crew. Matt, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts regarding the Chargers and Raiders matchup?
I mean, I'm honestly looking for you always look forward to divisional rivalry matchups, especially, again, the Chargers and Raiders. They're just two teams that don't like each other. And again, Max Crosby, one of the things he likes to do is he likes to chirp at the quarterbacks. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Pat Surtain, if Peyton Manning was still playing, like, he'd be chirping at him too. He doesn't care. He just goes in, he gets under your skin. That's the thing that I do kind of like about the Raiders, as long as they're not playing the Broncos, is like they love to get under everyone's skin because they know nobody likes them. And I love that about them. They go in there, they don't care, and they're going to get under your skin. So I'm kind of curious to see, because this is kind of a young Chargers offense. How are they going to handle that? Because, the Raiders, they might be young, but they have a little bit more experience, and they're coming off of a really good game. They're coming off a really good game against the Patriots, and, they're going to go into that momentum with the Chargers' young offense, and they're going to chirp at them. So how is this young offense going to handle that? Because some people just kind of like, I let my game speak for itself, and others like, I'm not going to let that fly, kind of get that Carl Pickens mentality. Like, if you talk to me, I'm going to have my conversation with you. So, again, I'm always excited for divisional rivalry matchups. I'm excited to see how the Chargers offensive line is going to match up with the Raiders defensive line. So that's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. Shovix?
Yeah. I don't know if I can say I'm excited right now, just after what took place after week 1. No, like Matt said, always excited for divisional matchups, especially when you're going to be kind of playing for, first place on the line. I know it's going to be week 2, but it's new territory for these teams at any point during the season. But I'm actually excited to see the Chargers more than the Raiders, for a simple fact of, I think there's a little more around the Chargers right now. Like, was week 1 for real? Was week 1 just kind of a fluke? So I think people want to see if Chargers are for real. I think the Raiders still have a way to go in a lot of people's minds. So I don't think there's a lot of expectations with the Raiders. So I'm actually more excited to just see if the Chargers can build off of week 1 and just prove that not only Justin Herbert, but them as a team belong in that conversation with what people have been expecting for a couple years now, with that upper echelon of AFC teams.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about statement games right away, but obviously Friday night, the Chargers had a statement game against the Chiefs, right? This could be a statement game for the Raiders. I know they're 1-0. They beat the Patriots, but you have an opportunity to get a leg up on a divisional opponent. And it does kind of set, maybe not a statement as much as it would just confidence. Right now you're in that stage of you're trying to build confidence in a team with the new coach, new quarterback. You still have question marks on the defense. What better way of showing everybody that you may be ready for that next step? And obviously it'd be a little sooner than what some would say, than going and getting a huge primetime win against a divisional opponent. Yes, it's at home. I get it. But at the same time, none of these games are going to be easy in the division. So there's no better way of jumping out early and setting a tone for what you could, possibly see. Or is it one of those where you're still maybe last year where you're competing and you're not getting blown out, but you keep it within like a touchdown or a field goal? I don't think Raiders fans want to see that. I think the Raider fans truly are going into this game thinking, hey, we can win this game. We saw enough out of Geno Smith throwing over close to 400 yards, against the Patriots defense. What's not to say he does that here. But I think a huge matchup to watch is Max Crosby against those tackles.
Yeah.
Obviously, Joe Alt moving positions. They have Pipkins at the other tackle. This is a guy who I've always said he is the one guy that can change a game by himself. You need that turnover. He could be that guy that maybe flips the script a little bit and maybe jumps and gets that momentum back to the Raiders side. So that's one of the matchups I'm looking forward to seeing is Max Crosby against those tackles.
Yeah, that's an interesting point of view regarding the matchups, because I'm actually curious to see how Devin White does against this offense too, because he was all over the field for the Raiders going against obviously the Patriots, and maybe the Patriots just aren't there offensively. But again, as seeing it from the Raiders perspective, what was encouraging was the adjustments the defense made. But Devin White looked like he was back to form when he was in, Tampa. So it was really good to see him flying on all over he was definitely the mic, and, having him as a catalyst for, whenever Max Crosby or Malcolm Kuntz need to take over, he was there at the right time, run stopping. And then also too, Jamal Adams did a really good job in the linebacking area. So I'm curious to see how those two match up against, in my opinion, a much upgraded offense in the Chargers, because clearly, the Chargers offense is head and shoulders above the Patriots. So I'm curious to see how our defense goes. And we're going to save our predictions for the AFC West towards the end of the program. So stay tuned for that. And if you're not subscribed, please do so. And also share, like, comment, all that good stuff that we appreciate. Next segment up, Austin, it's your aerial attack. So why don't you go ahead and take it over?
Yeah, so the Austin's aerial attack, for those who don't remember, picking best defensive player, unit, or entire defense that stood out and really stopped a passing attack. I think the easy choice would be Denver. I'm not going to go that route because that's never what I do. Cody kind of already touched on what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to go with the Raiders linebackers for week 1. We mentioned it before the season started that Raiders linebacker were, quote unquote, kind of just booty cheeks, just not good. Like, they didn't have anything. We didn't know what to expect from Devin White. Jamal Adams, at one point was an all-pro safety.
Mm-hmm.
Still didn't know how he would look as a linebacker. You already said Devin White. You could just watch the tape, and you don't even look at the stat sheet. Just watch the tape, and you'll see what Devin White did.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with Jamal Adams. That dude, if he can stay healthy for most of the season, they're going to have 2 really good linebackers, which is what we thought it was going to be a weakness. Like, even if you got okay play out of both of those, you weren't sure. But after week 1, they looked like old versions of themselves.
Yeah.
So for week 1, Austin's aerial attack is going to the Raiders linebackers because they balled out. I think they were a huge reason they held Patriots offense down. I don't think Patriots offense is lethal, but they're not bad. It's a year 2 quarterback. They have some weapons. They have a few really good running backs. Like, they can put up some points. And I think Jamal Adams and Devin White are a huge reason why the Patriots did not. So they get my aerial attack award for week 1.
Ooh, the first one of the season?
Yep, I know.
Let's go.
And I think it's easy to look at this game against the Patriots and say, I think, Cody, and I can't speak for you guys, but I think this is a game last year that the Raiders still find a way to lose.
Yep.
And again, we talked about culture change. We talked about a coach possibly being 1 to 2 wins different than obviously the previous regime. And we talked about Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, and Pete Carroll by himself would be able to bring 1 to 2 extra wins. And I know it's not always easy because now it's easy to build a culture, right? Like getting guys to buy in. Now you have to teach them how to not to lose. And I think right now Pete Carroll is, he's still instilling in them, hey, we got to learn how to not to lose. Like, you can, I think the Shorzy line, they just don't hate to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have those guys that, get buy-in. Now you got to find guys that hate to lose. It's a lot different than going out and competing and losing. You still don't want to do that. Now you got to find a way. Hey, yes, they score a touchdown late. What are we going to do to answer this call? And what are we going to do to get back on track as far as can we go back in there and can we, put our big boy pants on and go and win a game? And I think you're seeing that right now through week 1. Now the test is going to be a little different with this group against the Chargers, but in my opinion, I think Pete Carroll's on the right track of teaching these guys how to not to lose.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Again, I've always said it. I've been saying it since, the beginning of the season, well into the offseason. The Raiders always needed someone that they could get behind. And it starts in the locker room, and they have that in Pete Carroll. You can see it. They trust him. They're buying into what he's saying. They're listening to him. They're letting him coach them and make those criticisms, and they're not taking offense to it. They're, yes, coach, they get out there and they apply what they're learning from him, and they're putting it on the field. And again, like the performance, like, was it the best? No. But, I mean, look at Geno Smith's numbers, 362 yards, and that's the most by a Raiders QB in their debut in franchise history. So, yeah. I mean, like, something is working. And that's only 1 week. Now, again, they're playing kind of like a Patriots team that's a little bit in shambles. They're trying to figure out their identity as well. I think the Raiders just kind of found out who they were earlier. But yeah, now, again, like Cory said, this is going to be a test just because it's a division. But one thing I was really impressed with was your secondary, especially Isaiah Palomalo. I hope I said his name right. I don't want another thorough hazing like I got last time.
No, you got it right.
But, I mean, he had 7 tackles. He had an interception. He was just all over the field. The entire secondary was just all over the field. And, like, as soon as one of the Patriots receivers got the ball, they all just broke out of coverage and they swarmed to him. And that's what you want. You want them to attack. So, I mean, that's where I'm going with this is your secondary. Like, how well is your secondary going to do?
Yeah. Well, and honestly, too, the secondary did play a big part because even in Blue Kelly, who's a cornerback that I think we acquired him in the middle of the training camp. He also had a pass deflection and he had 9 tackles. So he led the position cornerback in tackles in general. Now, granted, they were thrown against him, so he's having to make plays, but he's still a pass defense. And also, too, with having Jeremy Chin on there, he did pretty well. But, Isaiah, he made the right plays. He was in the right spots. Devin White, though, and Jamal Adams, also to Jermaine Pratt, who we picked up from when the Bengals let him go. He was also a huge asset, too, because he was 3rd on the team with tackles with 8. And you can just tell his presence and run stopping. And to Austin's credit, having those guys be engines for the defense also will help Max Crosby be motivated. And to a lot of your guys' points about Pete Carroll, about being a guy that's teach them how to win, you got guys like Max Crosby, Geno Smith. I know that Jacoby Myers is somebody that's wanting to win. You're having guys like that are desperate to win anything. And so, yeah, they're going to soak up whatever knowledge. And, for Raiders to see proper second half adjustments to be an organized football team was something different. Because even in the third quarter, I would say midway through, you can feel that the Raiders okay, we made the adjustments. We stopped this. The passing game wasn't working as fluently for the Patriots. Once those linebackers were able to penetrate, once the cornerbacks were able to kind of shadow the receivers a little bit more. So that's really encouraging. I do want to give a shout out, though, because I don't want to not talk about my Raiders, but I do want to say the Broncos defense, I think, in my opinion, absolutely won the game. So if I had to give like an aerial award, I would say Benito, Cooper, what the Broncos secondary did to really shut down the Titans, because that offense gave the Titans enough opportunities to win that game, and the Broncos just hunkered down. So I would say, like, as much as I love the Raiders, Broncos are proving why they have probably arguably the number 1 defense in the division, I'll comfortably say, just because of what they have and how tenacious they are, and they were able to give opportunities back to the offense. But again, kind of moving back to the Raiders, I'm curious to see what they do against the Chargers Monday Night Football. That'll probably be their biggest matchup of the season. I mean, up to date, of course, because it's only week 2.
Yeah, I wanted to pick Denver's defense, but truthfully, I think there's going to be a lot of weeks I can pick Denver's defense.
Yeah.
So I'm really going to try to stick to the weeks where they go against like a high-powered offense. Like, to me, they did what they were supposed to do against the rookie quarterback at home.
Yeah.
I wasn't as surprised with their performance as I was the Raiders linebackers.
Right.
But I'm just saying it now. There's probably going to be about 8 weeks that I probably pick Denver's defense, just given what they have.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to like strategically think about it to where I'm trying to use them against big time games when they show up. So I agree with you. They are the easy one. Like, their defense is dominant. They were dominant. I'm just not trying to beat no pun.
A dead horse.
That horse right now. Like,
yeah. I am curious though to see what the Broncos do coming up against a team that has an offensive line that can put a hat on a hat with these edges and with the linebackers, because that if they can whatever team has the offensive line to neutralize that, I think it evens the playing field a little bit and then becomes a chess match a little bit, depending on whoever Denver's matchup is that has that offensive line that can compete with them. But Cory, let's go ahead and do your crossfire, man. So kick it off.
Yeah, and we'll get more in depth on the game tomorrow, but I will say, once Vance Joseph took my advice to my tip last week, beforehand, when I said don't coach scared and put some pressure on a rookie quarterback.
Did he answer your text when you sent that out to him during the game?
Once he finally started doing that, they did just fine. And I am going to say the same thing this week, because Daniel Jones really isn't that good of a quarterback.
Stop.
He's really not that good of a quarterback. So again, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow. So for my crossfire tonight, I am going to put Sean Payton as my week 1 going into week 2 in my crossfire.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see a better game plan going into week 2. I want to not see Bo Nix is not going to be successful throwing 40 times a game. That's just not how it is. I need to see more of a running game. I want him to set the tone early with the running backs. Use RJ Harvey, use J.K. Dobbins. That's the whole reason you brought those guys in, to use them. And I know you can look at the box score and see 16 carries for Dobbins, but let's look at the timing of when he was getting those carries, right? Like start the game, run the football, get that established, get your quarterback comfortable. And I also wouldn't mind seeing Denver run a little tempo. I think when Bo Nix has been able – look at the games Bo Nix has been in dating back to last year. When Denver goes up tempo in the final 2 minutes, that's when Bo Nix has actually looked his best. Getting the team into scoring position is because they're going tempo. So I'm challenging Sean Payton to run the football and maybe establish a little bit of a tempo for this game against the Colts. Because, again, yes, it's not the Titans. 2, I'm not as big of a believer in Daniel Jones as some.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be – this is a game you should be able to win. And I think I don't want it to continuously be the defense bailing the offense out. Like, I want to see the offense help the defense out. That's the whole reason you went out. You got Evan Ingram. You brought in J.K. Dobbins. You got R.J. Harvey. Help your defense out. Give those guys a breather. They're going to do their part all season. It's time for the offense to step up, and it starts with Sean Payton and how he's game planning.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to want to put any of our coaches in the crossfire. I think the week 1, I think that was more of – I mentioned it in the Chiefs game. I think it was more opponent-driven game plan. If you look at the Titans' defense, their strength is defensive line. So I think that game plan, that's why the lack of running. I mean, historically, Sean Payton has been a pretty balanced coach, but he has also liked running the ball. I think this was more of a opponent-driven game plan than anything, and then it kind of just got out of hand. You know, sometimes like with the Chiefs, once Worthy went down, I think we were lost for a while because our whole game plan was around him. I think their game plan was, let's not attack the Titans' strength. So, but as a Chiefs fan with Andy Reid, I know what it's like to never run the ball when you want to run the ball. So I get it. There's been plenty of weeks where I'm like, Andy Reid, can we run it more than 3 times? I mean, this dude had prime Jamal Charles, and Jamal Charles had 7 carries 1 week. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But I do think that it might have been a little more game plan specific, but I'm not saying I argue with it because as a Chiefs fan, I always want to run more.
But I look at it as we can't continuously do the 3 and out thing. And you look at one point, he was like 11 of 20 or something. I could be completely wrong. I didn't write the stat, but he wasn't throwing the football very well. He was rushing he even said after the game, he was rushing his throws on the 2 interceptions. So at that point, adjust your game plan. You have Marvin Mims, use them like you were using them last year. Get him in motion, do some jet sweeps, get something. You're the offensive-minded guy. You have something. And I know you're not trying to throw everything out there week 1, but you have to be able to do those in-game adjustments. And I just don't want to see Bo Nix throwing the football 40 times. That's kind of where I'm going with that.
Or at least friendlier throws, right? It doesn't always have to be 30 yards down the field.
I don't need a screen every time. He tried the screen game way too much. Matt, you may be able to back me up on this, but the screen game, there's a right time to use it. He was trying to use it a little too much.
It's getting to the point where I was even saying it last year, take the screenplays out of – like I want to drop a couple F-bombs here because it's so infuriating. Take the screenplays out of the playbook. And Justin Simmons said it best a couple years ago. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting something new to happen. And he's doing it it got to the point where the Colts just weren't even falling for it anymore. Like they knew it was coming. And nobody checked out of the play. Nobody called it out. Nobody did anything. And they just said, well, okay, let's see if we can get him on this one. And they just kept doing it. And it just – so like you said, game plan. It's got to be a game plan. I get you're excited. You have Bo Nix. He's young. He has an arm. Run the ball. We brought in Dobbins. Harvey had a great game. RJ Harvey, really impressed me because I was very skeptical with him, but he impressed me. You know, he had 70 yards on 6 carries. So I mean,
and one of those was a 50-yard run, but at the same time, that's still a 50-yard run.
Point.
But he broke off a 50-yard run. Exactly.
That's the point. It's going to happen. Like, the explosives will be there. Just continue to try it.
So let me ask you: would you just want a more balanced game plan, or do you want like a Michigan game plan against Oklahoma, where you just run, punt, run?
I want a balanced game plan, because one of my keys to success was be versatile in the play calling. Mix it up. Get a few runs in. Open a few bootlegs. And like the Broncos excel in the bootleg play action scheme. Stretch the field. Be versatile. Be unpredictable. And that's one of the things that Sean Payton is known for. He's so versatile. All of his players can play pretty much any position, so to speak. Running back, tight end, receiver, they can do it all. But you're not seeing that with the Broncos. You're seeing, like, again, it's the same thing over and over and over again, where other teams aren't falling for this. So something's got to give. You have to be unpredictable, or everyone's just you're going to be easy to plan for.
And I'm not necessarily saying balance, right? Like, I'm okay if there's 1 week where you have to talk, you might have to, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying. Yes, I get it. 1 week you may have to be pass heavy. Okay, but you still have to establish the run, especially if the pass isn't working right away, or you may have to don't limit yourself, right? Like, yes, they have a good defense. You have the skill position, right? Like, you just, I don't know. The screens were predictable. I mean, I would even be okay if you tried to get Marvin Mims on the wide receiver screens, or even like tight end screens. But again, it's week 1, so I'm not going to overreact to it. But at the same time, this is something that it even goes back into last season with how he was game planning some of this. And I know the run game, obviously, last year was completely not as obviously, but now you're supposed to have the running game because you have the 2 running backs. So show us.
I think what I would surmise is, I think if you guys are questioning if Sean Payton's calling a good game plan, are expectations of winning the West too high? Because look, Bo Nix's second year, it looked like he was in his second year with the interceptions. He had to settle in. Payton maybe should ease Bo Nix into more of a into a rhythm thing. Like, if you're going to run first down and then get like an easy slant to just get him in motion, just to get timing down, that's fine. But Austin and Cory, you both called this last week. You said it needs to be done in the trenches. And yet it didn't seem like that was something that he was willing to do early on in this game. And I don't know if it's him trying to put on a show for the fans. I don't know if it's, the Titans defense was just saying, hey, you're not going to run on us. And over the course of the game, the Titans defense just got worn out. But I've never seen a football game where you win one dimensionally. Like, usually you have to be at least somewhat balanced. And I get it. Like, some teams play the run far more efficiently than other teams. And, you do what you can. But, in the first 2 quarters, I think you guys had a total of like 7 rushes between both your running backs. Yeah. And you guys can't have 7 rushes and you have Bo Nix thrown it 21 times, 3 times the amount of run to play calls. And the play action is not going to work if you're not running the ball. So this whole fake handoff or, spinning it into a screen, you're just blowing up the play and losing yards, and you're going to lose confidence in Bo Nix to make the right decision. So I think, if we're questioning if Sean Payton is the quarterback to lead a good game plan, and granted it's week 1, we're going to make adjustments. Right. It's fine. But I would say, like, maybe expectations for the West are a little bit too good for the Broncos, only because you have Bo Nix year 1. You also have Sean Payton. What is this, year 3 or 4? Year 3, right? 3, and his deal is a 5-year deal, right?
Yes.
So now you're kind of in this year where you either need to make the playoffs and make a Super Bowl push, or your seat's hot next year because your contract is up for debate about whether or not it's going to get renewed. And I'm just going to be honest. I remember Sean Payton being a good, coach in New Orleans. But I do remember there was a lot of years where they missed the playoffs with Drew Brees, Marcus Colston, Michael Thomas. They did have a squad, and they still missed playoffs. And you can say it was injuries, game plan, whatever. He still was the head coach of those teams, and we have 1 Super Bowl to show for it. But I do remember there was quite a bit of years where they went 5 and whatever. They won 6 games. They won 3 games. So I do remember some Sean Payton years where it was rough. And I'm not saying that Sean Payton's not the guy, but my only point is like, hey, look, if Sean Payton doesn't pull it off this year or next year, is he really that guy to lead this team to the stratosphere that you guys are hoping to with Bo Nix, Mims, Franklin, whatever. So I think that's what I would pose is he even the guy for this season or the next season moving forward?
That's way too bold after week 1.
Yeah.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but damn, I mean, you're coming out hot. But I hear what you're saying. But again, it's week 1. Everything you're saying, pure facts. I'm not downgrading. Like, I'm not sitting here calling you a liar or anything. Like, everything you were saying is true. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure as hell not ready to jump that. Even as a Chiefs fan, I'm not ready to jump on that boat after week 1.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, if we're still sitting here midway through the season and we can kind of have the same conversation, all right, I'll indulge on this. But right now, after week 1, I'm not touching that.
Sure. Sure. I mean, it's week 1. We have 1 week. I get it. Like, I'm not trying to say that Sean Payton's not the guy and fire him. I'm just posing the question of like, hey, look, if week 2 against the Colts looks a bit rough, does that seat get a little hot? Does Bronco Nation become a little bit more agitated? That's all I'm saying. And because, again, we forget about the past sometimes that, there were a bunch of seasons where expectations that were high fell. And I'm not saying that he's not going to do really well for this Broncos team, but also like, don't be surprised if that's a reality because, he did coach those teams. He wasn't like an assistant. He coached those teams that didn't work well. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to let the Broncos guys touch this one if they want.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is still good enough, okay? So the defense is still good enough where I'm not quite there to say that they're not going to compete for the AFC West. I would also like to see Bo run the football a little more. I know some don't. Some aren't on the bandwagon of Bo running the football. The dude's effective when he runs. And I'm not necessarily saying these have to be QB designed because I don't even think there was very many QB design runs last year for him. It was more of getting him out of the pocket, letting him extend the play or go. I think on a couple of those, if he doesn't force the football, then we're not really talking about him having a bad game, right? The 2 interceptions kind of stand out because he forced the football into those just god-awful reads on his part. So I think learning to throw the football away when you need to and or running the football when you need to stay ahead of the chains. There were some bad penalties too. So, again, not all on the coaching, not all on the game. It is a lot on the game planning, but at the same time, the pre-snaps, the holdings on the receivers and what they were doing, again, not an overreaction. Just things I want to see. I want to see that, the game plan look a little smoother and cleaner. And I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of a tempo to get maybe Bo Nix in a rhythm and see where you go with running up maybe a tempo offense.
Yeah, every quarterback needs rhythm, not even just a second-year guy. Like, even Aaron Rodgers, who's 73 years old, needs a rhythm. Every quarterback needs to get in a rhythm.
And Jeff, our partner with JBW Solutions, posted a comment. Look, Nick's had a great rookie season, and I think that that's a bar that everyone is measuring his performance by. At the end of the day, he's 1 week into his second year, and he's still developing. Yeah,
Cody, this one's for you. Remember when you already –
I didn't say Bo Nix isn't a good quarterback. I was just questioning Sean Payton. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm saying – you remember –
we're caught in the crossfire.
J.J. McCarthy, before the game was over, you're like, he's a bust. I don't think he's it. And I'm like, dude, he's not even through his first
no. Hold on. I didn't say he was a bust. I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback. I still hold true to Caleb Williams. I think the jury's out on him, if I'm being honest. But J.J. McCarthy, did J.J. McCarthy have a good performance?
You can't.
Caleb looked good last night. That wasn't him choking. That was the
Did you see him in the fourth quarter?
Dude, he's fine. Caleb Williams is fine.
Okay, maybe we're watching 2 different games, man, because Caleb Williams had a wide open DJ
Moore. I'm wanting to fight you about my J.J. McCarthy guy, Cody.
J.J. McCarthy, I can get. He showed poise. He came back. He settled down in the second half. I got it.
That leadership he did, though, in the huddle?
Sure, fine. Caleb Williams.
This is why I'm daddy.
Caleb Williams, though, to me, I would say is a little bit more suspect. Ben Johnson, I don't know. And it's week 1. We'll see. It's the Vikings, whatever. But
so much overreaction in this
crossfire. I'm not going to lie. Cory's crossfire right now is straight directed at Cody's face.
It is.
Yep.
That's fine. I love it.
Matt, do you have anything else in the crossfire?
Again, it's too early to start saying Bo Nix is, boss, this, that, and the third. It was, like our sponsor was saying, my dad was saying, I don't know how to say that on TV. It's weird. It's 1 week into the rookie year. He's still developing.
Second year.
But excuse me, yes. See, I'm got me in the crossfire, man. But on the other side of the coin, he's also not a rookie anymore. So leaving your feet and throwing the ball, that's like things you don't do 101 as a quarterback. And he's still doing it. And then he continued to make those same mistakes. So it's like, okay, like, are you going to learn from this and like not do it again? Because this isn't the first time you did it. And the last time he did it was against the Colts, who we have next week. So again, like that's, I want to see him take those mistakes, learn from them, and then apply what he's learned to the field.
I do want to make this very clear. When I was saying about the Broncos, it was more towards Sean Payton. It was not against Bo Nix. I don't know why all of a sudden Bo Nix and Buster in the same sentence. That's not what I was saying at all. I was more putting the onus on Sean Payton and his leadership for how he's calling the game plan for Bo. That's all I'm saying.
Bo Nix and Buster in the same sentence. That's how we got there.
Who said?
You just did.
I didn't say that he was a bust at all.
I'm gonna go out there on tonight. Okay, Bo Nix is gonna be fine. Okay,
yes.
This is week 1. He's gonna be fine. Literally just saying game plan needs to be a little bit better suited towards Bo.
Yes,
and he's gonna be just.
AOC's coming for his job.
I was gonna say it's not like I said AOC's gonna
get those
signed.
shoulder pads ready.
Yeah. It's not like I was saying that, but hey, if you want me to, I will. All right, so that was Cory's crossfire. I think we're going to put a pin in that one, you guys. We can go all night with that one.
Yeah.
So we're going with the main event now. Matt's
the MILF report.
Yes. Give us the report.
MILF.
So there wasn't really any player versus player matchups that I was like really kind of jumping out at me, but more of a player versus skill group or positional group. So for instance, I'm going to go, my first one is Jonathan Taylor versus the Broncos run defense. Very opposite game. So the Colts actually had a total of 156 yards of rushing against the Dolphins last week. Jonathan Taylor led the way, 18 carries, 70 yards, no touchdowns, but still 70. That's a pretty solid game. The Broncos only gave up 71 yards of rushing the entire game against the Titans. This is going to be very fun because, again, both of them had different games. The Broncos really didn't allow anything, and the Colts were able to do whatever they wanted, and that's both through the air and on the ground. So I'm very interested to see how the Broncos defense, especially Alex Singleton, because he just did not look comfortable. He was lining up in the wrong gap. He looked terrible in coverage. He missed a few plays, and just honestly, if Talanoa Hufanga wasn't there to get that forced fumble, I'm pretty confident they would have broke one off for a touchdown there. And that was Alexander Singleton's assignment. So I kind of want to see how the Broncos run defense is going to do against Jonathan Taylor. The other thing I'm looking forward to is going to be the Chargers receivers, who had a very good game against the Chiefs, versus Cody, your Raiders secondary, who had a very good game against the Patriots. That is going to be fun. They're both young. They're both fast. Your corners and your safeties, they're clingy. They're fast. They have long arms. And the receivers the route running is crisp. Keenan Allen still got it. Despite his age, he still got it. He still goes up and he fights for the ball. It's going to be fun. So those are that's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, as far as like the game of the week, obviously the rematch, Chiefs and Eagles. Of course, that goes without saying. But yeah, those are my matchups.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my MILF report is going to be, how does Denver's defense do against the best quarterback in the league? Which is statistically
the fact you said that with a straight face.
Look at the stats after 1 week.
We can't control what comes out of his mouth.
I'm just saying he scored on 100% of his possessions.
Mama Shovit, come get your son. He's running wild again.
Oh, shit.
She can't control me.
Not this one either.
Send him to his room without dinner.
Yeah.
The amount of times that's happened, I'm telling you. I mean, Daniel Jones scored in 100% of his drive. Like, why are we laughing about that?
Against the Dolphins.
Okay. There's still a defense, I think. Maybe. It's questionable. I take back what I said.
I was going to say, you can't even say that confidently.
Yeah.
No,
legitimately, like, worse than any NFL team we've seen in a while. Like, they are so awful.
Now, I'm actually really excited because I think this has a chance to feel like a late 90s, early 2000s matchup. I'm actually super excited about Surtain versus Pittman. Those are just two very aggressive, physical specimen, second generation, third generation, 12th generation NFL players. I'm excited to just watch that. I don't know if Surtain's going to shadow him. I don't know if Pittman's to that level that he's earned Surtain's, shadowing, but I'm excited. Well, they have other big receivers too, right? So it could even be Alec Pierce, but he's not. Let's not get to that level. But I still think that Broncos defense in general against the Colts, because Tyler Warren balled out. I know, again, it's the Dolphins. It's fine. Broncos' Achilles heel for a while has been covering really good tight ends. So I do think there's a couple matchups that can be exploited. Again, it's all going to come down to Daniel Jones. Is we going to get week 1 Daniel Jones or 7 years New York Giants Daniel Jones? We just don't know. But I do think there's a couple matchups that are really good, interesting to watch with the Colts-Broncos game.
I'm going to say, back to Matt's point about Alex Singleton real quick. I mean, he was out for a while, extended period of time. He's coming off a thumb injury as well. Played 100% of the snaps on defense too. So he'll be fine. But he's also not one of those guys. He's not always technically sound. He's just there for the tackles. So when you get guys like Alex Singleton and how they play, yeah, he's gonna overrun something every now and then. But I do agree with you still. But I just wanted to point out that old Singleton, he'll be fine. He's just trying to get the rust knocked off. And honestly, I just want to see him stay healthy, because we are so thin at linebacker right now that we can't afford to lose Singleton with, when we don't know when Greenlaw's going to come out or come back. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. As far as the Colts game goes, again,
We need your MILF report of the week.
Yeah, I'm getting to the Colts game and that. So, yeah, I don't necessarily think there's a matchup that's super exciting. I do worry a little bit about Tyler Warren and the tight ends, just based on what Denver's been against tight ends, especially athletic ones. So if there's one concern for the defense, it's that. But they also do have Pierce, and he is their deep ball guy. And Denver is definitely fragile to a deep play with, if it's Riley Moss. And let's be honest, Patrick Tan's even gotten some, deep shots on him as well at times. And Alec Pierce is that guy who could be the deep threat on that. So, but again, with my MILF report, it would be basically trying to game plan for Tyler Warren.
Go ahead, Matt. Oh, sorry. You did your segment. Shoot. Sorry. I was reading comments right now. We have a commenter that said there's no Chiefs or Chargers commentator. Apparently they don't believe that you're a Chiefs fan.
You don't exist. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because you're a closeted Razors fan.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yes, you are.
I am a Chiefs fan. I'm just wearing my Corgi Hawaiian polo tonight.
It is a sick Corgi shirt too.
Yeah.
I think my MILF report would be, listen, if we're talking about the Broncos and the Colts, and my ultimate point is going to be on the Chiefs and Eagles coming up, because I think that's a very interesting matchup for both teams. But I do want to say, if there is any matchups that I think are interesting with the Colts and the Broncos, it'd be Quentin Nelson against whatever defensive end is coming around the edge that he's got to protect Daniel Jones. And again, who knows what Daniel Jones is in this offense, behind this offensive line, good or bad, we don't know. But I will say the Broncos are going to keep him real honest. And I would not be surprised if old Daniel Jones comes out, because I still don't think Shane Steichen is a good head coach. I think this team has a lot of good pieces, and the defense is well coached. And I think Jonathan Taylor is an outstanding back. And there's a lot of pieces. I just don't know if Shane Steichen is the guy for it. And I also don't know if Daniel Jones is the guy. I think he's a better option than Anthony Richardson, which is why I think, whatever Quentin Nelson has to go against with whatever the Broncos bring him, which it could be Benito, it could be Cooper. Who knows? Maybe they bring in a corner pressure. Who knows what it is? I think that'll be a huge matchup for the Colts going on that one. But to be truthful, I think the bigger matchup to me would be how is Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes going to go against respective defenses? Because let's be honest, Patrick Mahomes, I think he was the reason why the Chiefs were hanging around that game against the Chargers. And I think the Andy Reid game plan is going to fit better in the offense. And I'm curious to see how they do. But I would say the Eagles also had a lack of urgency against their game with the Cowboys, which I think needs to be circled around. They still have no continuity with Hurts. With Smith is really the only guy he has a connection with in Goddard. A.J. Brown is absent from this offense for whatever the reason is, and he's obviously the alpha of that team, and yet he still can't get more than a catch. And I think that's a little alarming if I'm the defending Super Bowl champions and the Chiefs have, I wouldn't say a great game plan, but all what they need to do is just not give up the big plays to Barkley. And I don't think Jalen Hurts can beat them with his arm with how that offensive runs. And I think the Chiefs have a really good opportunity to get back on track and instill some confidence in themselves by beating the defending champions. I think that's the matchup I'm looking for between the two quarterbacks. Who's going to do better against the respective defense? And I think, Andy Reid, I would not be surprised if he comes out with a much tighter game plan to where this offense is a little bit more in rhythm. And obviously they have to adjust with having no Worthy. So I think I would trust Andy Reid in this kind of scenario, in this situation. And that would be my MILF report. That's what I'm looking at in terms of matchups.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. As a Chiefs fan, I don't feel confident if we're going to put a confidence meter on it, but I'd like to think that we won't look worse because I think you're spot on. Patrick Mahomes himself looked like MVP Pat Mahomes, like just individually him, not the team, just him. So I am curious to see how that goes, but I don't feel very confident heading into that game, and we can touch on that in a bit. But I hope you're right. I hope we come out looking better and competitive. But I think they can just do whatever they want against their defense right now. They're not in a good spot.
With the Eagles or the Chiefs?
The Chiefs. I don't like their defense isn't in a good spot. It usually takes a while, but we got rid of a lot of veterans, and we don't kind of have that alpha dog stepping up. Like we let go of Justin Reed. Now we're just super young in our back end. Trent McDuffie, great corner, not very vocal. Chris Jones, for whatever, I don't know what's going through his head right now, but week one was nothing like him at all. You don't usually see bonehead. I'm not saying that's the reason they lost, but that was a boneheaded mistake on that 3rd and long. You just don't see that. So they're just not in a good spot. I'd like to think they'll get refocused, but I want to see it before I believe it.
I actually think that I'm going to give it from my perspective. I'm not a Chiefs fan, of course, but I think my perspective is I think that interior will come out with a little bit more aggression because, all over ESPN, whatever sports network has been broadcasting what looked to be disorganization from that defense. Yes. And I think that they have a lot of pride with that, and I think Chris Jones especially is not going to want to come out looking as sorry as he did, or at least not putting up pressure. I think that defense as a whole is going to play collectively better. I'm more concerned with like the corners of the Eagles. And I think the Chiefs have actually pretty good weapons to combat them. And I don't fear like the corners that the Eagles had last year. I think they lost a lot of those guys. They're a bit younger. And I think the experience of the Chiefs could really actually disrupt whatever their defensive game plan is to where, again, you guys may not throw it 40 yards like you used to, but I think death by 1,000 cuts, strategically moving down the field, wearing them down, I think is more the path I see. But I do think I would not be surprised if your guys' defense this game shows a better stance, because I also think that they're going to want to prove to the Eagles that they can't just be pushed around. And I feel like this is a good game for them to get back on track. Like we talk about the Chiefs maybe being complacent because they win so much. I think this is the game where they rise to the occasion. It's one of these games where they're gonna show up, so to speak.
Chris Jones just isn't the same as old, and I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, but he had two sacks in week 2 of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Since week 2, he's had 3 sacks. So
I do think that it's more like on Carlisle to like come around and be more pressure, but it's going to take Jones to really get in and take a lot of that pressure off to give that outside a chance.
I think that's where our problem is now, that he doesn't take as many blockers or as he used to. The only time we got pressure against the Chargers was Spags blitzes, and that's because those are always chaos, but we can't do that every time. The reason those are effective is because we know we can use those in a timely manner. So that's why I want to see it before I believe it, because this has kind of been a thing in the making over a year or so now, half a season through the playoffs type deal. It's noticeable now because we're 0-1. We're last place in the AFC West, so it's a little more under the spotlight than typical. You know, last year we were still winning games. All is good in the world. But it's been slowly in the making. So I want to see it before I believe it.
The Chiefs are going to be fine this game. The Eagles' defense isn't as good as they were, and I think you touched on it with the corners. Great Sly is not the same as he was, a couple years ago. He's older now. I think you saw who's the other
you have DeJean, and then you have Quinyon Mitchell.
Mitchell struggled the other night as well, and I think CeeDee Lamb dropping a few of those passes kind of, it doesn't show what it could have been because he was open on those that he dropped. So
and I mean, for most of that game, to your credit, the Cowboys were able to move the ball up and down the field.
And I think that the Chiefs will be fine. I know Worthy's going to hurt, but I do like Hollywood Brown. I think he was finally starting to get into a good rhythm with Patrick, and I think Travis he's still kind of the wild card because you still don't quite know what to expect. You're like, he could be one of those guys that just goes off for 100 yards, and you're like, oh, okay. But he could also be a guy that gets 2 catches for like 15 yards. Yeah. And you're like, oh. But I would like to see Andy Reid try to run with Pacheco a little more. I know
any of them.
I know, him and Freeman touched on it the other night, Sunday night, that just looking at the box score, they didn't run the ball much. And I know people are going to say Andy doesn't run, that he does run the football. He ran the football last year. Pacheco and Kareem Hunt did just fine last year. So Andy Reid needs to try to get his running game established. I think Pacheco's one of those guys. He can set a really good tone for the offense. And I know you can say, well, the Eagles D-line, it doesn't matter. You can still try to run the football and take a little bit of pressure off your quarterback. Yeah. And obviously, which quarterback's going to make the least amount of mistakes, right? Jalen Hurts is going to run the football. Patrick Mahomes will run the football. But which defense can make those guys make one of those crucial mistakes? Because you can look at, interceptions and turnovers. And I always said it about Dak. Well, he didn't throw that many interceptions in the season. Yeah, but go back and watch when he made when he threw those interceptions. Timing's everything, right? So I want to see which defense can make one of those quarterbacks, make a mistake first, or even like what the Buffalo Bills did with Derrick Henry the other night. Fumble the football. Saquon, I know Saquon's not the easiest one, but you're going to have to get those turnovers and remind everybody why your defense was a top defense in the NFL. So, again, I go back to I think the Chiefs are going to be fine, and we'll make our predictions at the end of the show.
It's a Tyquan Thornton breakout game, though.
I think it's going to be Hollywood.
You heard it here.
I think Hollywood. I think JJ Smith-Schuster, has a really good shot at breaking out. I think that he's a veteran receiver that's shifty, that I feel like the same kind of play that Andy Reid gives, Travis Kelce to find the soft spot of the zone. I feel like Smith-Schuster is now that kind of a veteran receiver to do so.
I think Tyquan takes over the Worthy role.
I think he's a deep threat. I think he's one that stretches that the field a lot. I agree. I think that's going to open up a lot of the zones. I do think, though, too, that Nick Fangio, he is a hell of a defensive coordinator, but he still has a losing record against Andy Reid. Andy Reid still has his number. And don't get me wrong, Super Bowl is a hell of a stage to get, your ass handed to you, so to speak. But I do think that Nick Fangio and Andy Reid is a good matchup. And I think Andy Reid still owns that because he's not going to let you beat him twice the same way. At least I don't think. I think he'll have these guys ready to go, I'll say.
And we'll see how good Josh Simmons is as well.
I think it's a great test for him, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I will like to say this is going to be more competitive in the Super Bowl. I do feel confident about that.
I kind of feel the same way. And the reason I say it is just kind of going back to what one of my coaches used to say to me, and this is in regards to the Chiefs' last game. He always used to say, like, if we win, that's on you guys. You put the effort in, you won. If we lose, that's on me because I didn't prepare you enough. And the Chiefs just kind of didn't look prepared enough for that game. So now, what is Andy going to do about it? And, it'd be foolish to think that he isn't going to prepare for this game because now, one, you got, like you said, Cody, they got their asses handed to him. Mm-hmm. They're not going to he's not going to let you do that again. Absolutely not. There's no doubt about it. He's not just going to be like, hey, let's go for round 2. Same way. I think they're going to be more focused. I think they're going to be more prepared. I am excited to kind of see how, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, they handle Hollywood Brown and I'm drawing a blank. I'm watching my son on the monitor do
Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, that guy, Smith-Schuster. Sorry, no, I have my son on the monitor and I'm watching him, making sure he's not doing anything he shouldn't be doing. But Smith-Schuster, I'm interested to see how a young secondary is going to handle a more experienced receiving core. I think it's going to be a fun matchup to watch. I think it's going to be closer than the Super Bowl, and it's going to come down to the chess match. Who's going to outcoach the other? So it's going to be an exciting game.
And I'm looking here. It's a 3:25 kickoff. Like, what are we doing here? No one gives a shit about the Falcons Vikings for Sunday Night Football. Are you kidding me?
JJ McCarthy versus Penix, bro.
No, miss me with, like, come on. They had the perfect opportunity to have Chiefs Kingdom drunk off their asses.
Oh, that's in Kansas City?
It is in Kansas City. So you give the Chiefs fans a chance to start tailgating at 4:00 in the morning, get drunk. I mean, not that they're going to still be loud at 3:25, but
getting white girl wasted.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Falcons, Vikings, Sunday Night Football, NFL. You screwed this one. My goodness.
That is surprising. Chiefs Eagles aren't prime time in some fashion. Not even just the Chiefs.
Not even a Monday night game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's tough because Monday night has got a pretty good matchup, but I think Sunday night for sure. Like, no offense, but Falcons and you said Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not watching that game.
That's worse than Panic.
I'm going to watch it.
I'll probably watch, but I'm not going to be happy.
I don't even think I'm going to watch it, but not be happy.
But then you have the Buccaneers, Texans Monday night, and the Chargers, Raiders. So you have a doubleheader on Monday night.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, come on, NFL.
They got to give you something to watch during Sunday.
Yeah. I will say this about the Chiefs, though. If they do lose this game, and it is because maybe they don't have the pass catchers that they need, like Worthy is a big absent, I would not be surprised if we see a blockbuster trade for Tyreek Hill back to the Chiefs.
100%.
I think after week 2,
it happens either way.
Maybe I'm going to say, like, if the Dolphins play better, which who knows what that means to them, but if they play better to where they're at least a functioning football team, probably not. But like, I can see the Chiefs actually like, hey, let's bring Hill back because we need somebody with Worthy absent, with Rashee Rice. Can you imagine Rashee Rice and Tyreek Hill opposite of him with Patrick Mahomes in the offense? They would, to me, be like back to that high-powered offense that we've known them before they traded Tyreek. So
I'll be a Cowboys fan. It'd be our year.
Oh my God.
I'm not even going to acknowledge that.
If we get Tyreek, I'm going to say it's our year again. I'll be so happy.
All right, guys. So we're going to
not found guilty. I want to throw that out there.
That's true. All right, guys. We're going to give our predictions towards the latter part, but we have one more segment. This segment is sponsored by JBW Solutions, LLC. Again, they are veteran-owned, community-driven, safety-focused. They are such phenomenal partners. Jeff has actually been commenting throughout the night, and he did great in fantasy. So fantasy, we're going to do our sleepers and our busts. So, Matt, if you want to kick us off with it, you go right ahead. Who's your sleeper and who's your bust?
You know what? Based on how my team played, I'm just being biased. My bust is Jamar Chase because that pissed me off. But
Matt's whole team's a bust.
What is wrong with my team? Like, seriously.
Who is your week 2 sleeper and bust?
Yeah.
I know. I just wanted to point out that I'm very angry that Jamar
I
Chase.
am mad.
Right? You let me be mad, all right?
You do you, boo-boo.
I'm going to say my week 2 bust is going to be Tua. Tua is going to be my week 2 bust.
Safe. Yeah. That's a good one.
Quality.
And then for my sleeper, I got Bucky Irving.
There you go. I like that.
I got Bucky Irving as my sleeper.
All right, I got my sleeper and bust for week 2. My bust for week 2 is going to be Danny Dimes. Don't start him. He's going to have a terrible week. Don't do it, guys. Unless you want.
No, you don't start him.
Yeah, but he's going to be on. He's going to be a bust. If he's your only starting quarterback, don't do it. My sleeper, and this is to shout out to the to leg day. Matt Prader would be my sleeper. I know it's a bit. I know, like, reaching for a kicker, but honestly, like, he gave me 12 points in week 1. He has a pretty good matchup against the New York Jets in New York. I feel like if you need a kicker that's going to get you some decent points, Matt Prater is still a sleeper or quality one. You know, I mean, I could throw out there another one, but I think Matt Prater is a pretty good sleeper for fantasy if you're looking for a reliable kicker.
Matt Prater will never be the wrong answer.
That's right.
So I approve. My bust is actually going to be Bijan Robinson for week 2.
Whoa, what?
We said we're playing the Vikings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a believer in the Vikings and their defense.
Dude, some people drafted Bijan with like the first overall pick, and you're just going to say he's going to be a bust?
For week 2.
Dude.
Jamar Chase put up 4 points in week 1, and he was the first overall pick in a lot of drafts.
Okay, but that's the Bengals, though.
And this is the Falcons.
I feel like the Falcons did pretty well against the Buccaneers. They put points up.
They did okay.
Okay. Wow. All right. Bijan is a bust. Okay.
For 1 week. Okay. I would still take him in Kansas City.
Yeah, you would.
In a heartbeat. I think I'm going to go for my sleeper this week, though. He had a bad week 1, so I think a big week 2 is coming for the entire offense, but I'm going Jameson Williams.
That's a good one.
They were kind of just terrible week 1. I think they're going to bounce back week 2.
Okay.
That's not
Cory?
bad. I'm going to go for my bust this week. I'm going to go Geno Smith.
Ha.
Yeah, I know he's
all right.
I know he's coming off a good game, right?
Yeah.
He had a really good game against the Patriots. But I still do like the Chargers defense and what they were about. Henley was really good for them. Derwin James is obviously still there. So, yeah, I'm sorry, but for this week, Geno Smith is my bust. And then for my sleeper, I'm going with Hollywood Brown. I think
that's a good one.
I think this is the week. And I don't necessarily know if he's technically qualified as a sleeper just based on his volume is going to be a little more and up there a little bit more with Worthy being out. But again, I do like Hollywood Brown as my sleeper this week. And then again, as my bust is Geno Smith.
Cody, I'll give you one here. My bonus bust of the week is Justin Herbert. We're not over week 1, so bonus bust. That's more just saltiness.
Man, we need to get you in a Raiders jersey. So
nah.
Jeff, who is the owner of JBW Solutions, who is our partner that we talked about, this segment is sponsored by JBW. His sleeper is Dylan Sampson, which is a great one. And his bust is James Cook, which is very interesting because he had a great game against the Ravens. I think he even got them a late score to kind of help tie the game in Sunday Night Football. That's a very bold bust, but going against a tough Jets team, it's a hell of a sleeper and a bust. So thank you, Jeff, for doing that. And this segment was sponsored by JBW Solutions.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to close out the show. Are we ready to do our picks for the AFC West?
Yeah, buddy.
Let's do it.
All right, Shovix, go ahead, starting with Broncos and Colts. They have the Sunday night. Now, the Sunday afternoon. According to my time zone, they're the 105 game, so I'm assuming 305 for y'all. Who is your pick?
Broncos.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be Broncos.
Okay. Matt?
I'm going with the Broncos.
All right. I feel like we're treading around scary territory when I say the Broncos too, because all of us against the Colts, and usually that's upset alert. But Broncos, I think their defense is legit. So let's see. The next one is Eagles and Chiefs. Matt, who you got?
I'm gonna take the Eagles on this one.
Okay.
Eagles.
Wow, from the Chiefs fan. Okay, great.
Yeah, I want the Chiefs to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, it's your pick, bud. That's fine.
I'm right either way. Either my pick's right or my fandom's right. So
You're wrong.
strategy.
Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah. So we're split right now, or at least we got 2-1. So I'm going to make us tied. I'm going to go Chiefs. I think that this is their bounce back game. This is in Kansas too. It's going to be hostile crowd. Philadelphia.
Kansas City.
Yeah. Give me Kansas. And then Monday night football. Chargers go to Vegas against the Raiders Monday night.
Raiders.
I'm just going to go Raiders. I'm just going to be biased about that. Corey?
Who'd you say?
Raiders.
Yeah.
Cody, you said Raiders?
Oh, yeah.
It's the Chargers.
I'm going Raiders.
All right, there we go.
What is going on here?
Hey, we're drinking Pete Carroll Kool-Aid.
Did someone write those picks down?
No.
Because
No.
We didn't have notes like 30 minutes before the show started. You think we all colluded to have picks?
All stored in here.
Yeah, I'll be posting these before week 2 starts so you guys can see that me and the Chiefs are in last.
I don't know how did we all do? We'll submit a post that just kind of gives a little report card because this is going to be great to see how we all do against the AFC West.
Tracking you, Cody. I got the rolling sheet that I will have.
All right. And then Mama Shovik, Tua's a bust in general. Yeah, I mean,
this dude down here, go Steelers. What up with A-Rod, though?
For real.
What's up?
They signed Jabril Peppers today, too.
Yeah, that's a good pick. And Jalen Ramsey won them that game on Sunday. He made a crucial stop, so that was great.
DK Metcalf's going into my lineup this week. So,
all right. And then Jeff with the just do your okayest. Yes, sir.
Wise words of the sponsor. What's up?
That's right. Way to close out the show.
World's okayest.
World's okayest.
All right, guys. Do we want to tell the people what's going on the rest of the week and then close this out?
Yeah. So tomorrow we'll have the Colts Brigade. We'll break down Broncos Colts from a Colts perspective.
This will be fun.
We'll let him and my brother get fanboy Chubbs over Danny Dimes.
Whoa.
And then we will have John Abraham Friday. I'm super excited about that. Eric Coleman, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, name dropped John a few times. So then I was like, no better time to get a teammate of Eric Coleman on here. And John Abraham had an outstanding career. I encourage you guys to go check out his career numbers.
Stud.
Dude was a beast. And that was kind of in an era of my childhood that I really do remember a lot of John Abraham playing. So we'll have John on the show Friday, as long as schedules line up, because we know that, again, these guys are human. Things do happen as well. So that's the rest of this week. So, again, there's no rest, essentially, between our jobs and trying to get a show together, making pivots, adjustments. But, again, guys, it's been a ride, and it's been a fun few days with, Matt Prader hitting a game winner, being a former guest of our show and a Westie Bestie. So again, go check out the Matt Prader video, guys. Go check out the reels that Cody's been working his tail off on, getting those prepped and ready. It's going to be a fun. We're 1 week into the season. We're going into week 2. You guys saw the crossfire segment, Seggy, tonight, and how kind of intense that kind of got for a second. Got a little fuzzy. So again, we're doing this for you guys, and thanks to Jeff and his company for believing in us still. He keeps coming back, so we're doing something right. So again, thanks to him, and thanks to everybody in the chat tonight. You guys, 10 out of 10. We really appreciate you guys and everything you guys do to keep the chats going. And here we go. Let's get ready for tomorrow.
All right. Couple of housekeeping notes. Again, special shout out to JBW Solutions. Again, all their information is down below. We want to give a special shout out as well to Emporia State Federal Credit Union. All their information is down below too to get started and being partners with them. Also, field ops with Troy and the crew. Go to fieldops.com/Kansas to get a great quote on any field markings that you might get done for any leagues and events. Spy Optic, Orange 20 to get 20% off your shades. And we have what's the 2 new ones that we just got? Austin, what was the Beard Club? Was that right?
Yeah, we got the Beard Club and Shank It Golf. We got the links posted on our IG.
And we're going to have them in this episode card as well. And then, Matt, you got us a brand new one. What was that one?
Yeah, we got Badger Barrel Cookers.
Let's go.
They are a grilling company, and we are excited for that one.
Badger Barrel. That's going to be dope. So whenever we get our stuff, we're going to post it. We have all the links on our socials. While you're on our socials to get those links, please hit the follow button, like, share, all that stuff. We got to interact with you guys. We love talking smack about our teams and your team. So let's make this a fun season. Let's get after it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so that way we can keep growing this. And we got a lot of fun stuff planned that is in the docket. So with that being said, you guys, we're going to sign off. We'll catch you guys on the next War Room, and we will see you next time.